How's it going, Goomy Gang? Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I know it's been a hot minute since my last video. It's been about 2 weeks, but I've just been very busy, and to be honest, the state of COD has just been kind of hurting me a little bit right now, but we do have a new update to talk about, and of course, Battlefield 6. So today's video is about the Battlefield 6 beta, and more importantly, the shotgun, because that's what we do here. We talk about the shotguns, and the shotgun in Battlefield 6 in the beta, oh boy, it's a fun one, so we're going to get started in talking about that. But before I do want to have a little disclaimer. All opinions I'm about to talk about and all the details, this is coming from someone who is a longtime COD enthusiast who's played COD for basically like 2 decades at this point. But I have played Battlefield in the past. Even though I don't cover it on my channel, I do love Battlefield. I do play it. It's more of a social thing where I play with other people, not as much solo. But I did play Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3 and 4. I played 1. I did play a little bit of 2042, not as much. So I do have some experience. I'm just not a pro on the mechanics of it, so just something to keep in mind. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and talk about the M87A1. This is basically your Remington shotgun, and it has been an absolute blast to use, and I'm sure you've seen the clips on Twitter of people using it and bodies flying. Yes, it's that fun. It's super good. So let's just go ahead and talk about it. So the shotgun in the beta has 3 different ammo types. They have Buckshot, which is your traditional spread shotgun. It has Flechette, which is really cool to see, which is like a little bunch of darts. And then you also have Slugs, which is my personal favorite. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, what are the one-shot ranges for these things? Which one should I be using? And honestly, the answer is all of them. They're all pretty good. But if I had to say my favorite, it would probably be Slugs, followed shortly by Flechette. I think those are 2 of the top ones. The Buckshot is still good. I just prefer the other 2. Flechette feels like a Buckshot but more consistent, and then Slugs just have a ton of range and feel super solid. So let's talk one-shot ranges, since I'm sure a lot of you guys are super curious about this for each ammo type. Now keep in mind, this is based off of my in-game, like sort of just playing. I'm not actually testing in-game because I don't have a good way to, and also just sort of shooting in the firing range with the dummies at different distances. For the base Buckshot ammo, it seems like your one-shot potential is around the 10 to 15 meter mark. It can actually one-shot the first dummy, but it can't do the one at 20 meters. So really, it could be anywhere from 10 to 20, but usually I'm getting around like maybe the 15 meter mark just based off of my in-game playing, and that's for base Buckshot. Now Flechette seems to be around the same, if not a little bit better. The one thing about Flechette rounds that I notice is that they seem to be a little more consistent to me. They just feel a lot more punchy, even though they may not be. I can tell you from a subjective standpoint that they do indeed feel a lot better than the Buckshot. And honestly, if you're having trouble with the Buckshot ammo, which I can't imagine you would be unless you're really scuffing shots, definitely try the Flechette rounds. They're definitely a one-up in my book, and I prefer using them. And then for Slugs, Slugs are actually interesting because you can one-shot at pretty good distances, but only with headshots. Now the first dummy in that 10 meter range, you can one-shot all across the body. As long as you hit them with the slug, they're dead. It deals 100 damage. Super satisfying, super fun. Outside of that one-shot kill range, that's about the 10 to 15 meter mark across the body, you can still get one-shot headshots out to about 35 to 40 meters or so. It's not like sniping crazy, but it is nice to have, especially for close and medium range engagements. It's super fun to land that one-shot headshot and get a kill. Aside from that, shotgun slugs can basically 2-shot anywhere in the body. As far as I can tell, I haven't really found a range they can't 2-shot, so that is cool to see. They're very strong in this game, super satisfying to use. And for slugs in this game, there isn't a lot of bullet drop. It's not like Call of Duty where slugs are just, they always just balance them in this weird way where they fall off after like 30 meters and they're dipping down like a grenade launcher. It doesn't work like that in Battlefield. Basically, at the farthest dummy, you can test this yourself in the firing range. If you're aiming at the head, you're pretty much going to get the headshot. It's not like it dips off super soon, so that is really cool to see. And they don't have a super slow travel time, at least in these close to medium ranges. In fact, a lot of the gameplay you're seeing is mainly going to be with slugs and Flechette rounds. I don't actually have any gameplay with the Buckshot just because I didn't get around to it, but trust me, I used it and I still think that the other 2 rounds are better in my opinion. Now, some other notable attachments, I want to share with you guys sort of my base setup that I've been using because I found this to be the most snappy and the most fun. It's not anything super complicated. I am rocking an underbarrel grip, which is the ribbed stubby, which is kind of a funny name. I'm rocking that one because it gives you a little bit better your handling, and really it's better than any of the other ones I've found, because with a shotgun you don't need a ton of recoil control. This one just makes you a little bit snappier. I am also rocking the 5-shell tube, which gives you 6 shots, but with this it's basically just going to make you a little bit quicker. I found this to be totally suitable. I mean, I can see why you'd want to rock the 7-shell tube, which gives you 8 shots, but it's a little overkill in my opinion, since after every engagement I'm pretty much reloading a shell anyway. 5 shells is totally worth it in my opinion, or rather 6, so just go with either, but I prefer the mobility of rocking the 5-shell. Of course, with the ammo types, like I said, they're all good, but definitely rock Flechette if you're more of like a traditional shotgun guy, and if you want to try slugs, definitely go for that. A little bit harder to use, but so damn satisfying. I love how slugs feel in this game. game, it feels great. The rest is kind of up to you. Always rock iron sights in my opinion. I don't really bother with the sight unless maybe you're going for like slug sniping. And then the top accessory, you can rock a laser. Now I do want to point out, I think these are actually maybe potentially bugged. I'm not sure if this is how they're intending to work, but they don't actually seem to help like you might expect. If you notice on screen, there's a little circle reticle where you kind of imagine that's where your spread is going to go, and that's generally where it goes, but it's not one-to-one. And what I mean by this is if you have that 5 milliwatt green laser, it's a super tight hip fire spread, but if you shoot, it's basically the same tightness as your base spread. So I'm not sure if that's a bug or what, but I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit tighter. Doesn't seem to be that way. It doesn't feel any better, so I would maybe just avoid these entirely, or maybe it's placebo and maybe they feel better to you, in which case rock them if you want, but I don't really feel like it's necessary, especially to waste attachment points on it, so just don't really bother with the lasers when you use it, in my opinion. Now there is a suppressor to run. I wasn't a super huge fan of it, especially with slugs. For some reason, I feel like maybe it adds more bloom to your slugs. I wasn't really hitting as many shots with the suppressor on. Don't know why, it could just be placebo in my head, but didn't feel super great. But it is something you can definitely run, and it does help. It's just I didn't find it really worth it, in my opinion. I'd rather be a little bit snappier. Now again, I'm not trying to turn this into a COD loadout meta video. I just feel like, you know, with the guns being the primary focus of the game, I had to talk about the attachments for it. It just makes sense to me, in my opinion. So I'm not giving you a meta loadout or anything. I'm just telling you guys, try the shotgun out, try the different ammo types, definitely try slugs, it's really fun, and just go on and have fun, wreak havoc with this thing. Now this video wouldn't be complete without me kind of giving a long-winded answer on whether or not I think this is sort of a overpowered shotgun, because you know how the community is with shotguns. If they see a shotgun doing shotgun things, they get really butthurt about it, and typically on Reddit and Twitter you have people posting clips of people getting kills 5 feet away and saying shotgun OP, shotgun broken. Kind of silly, kind of ridiculous, but I do want to share my insight on it on someone who's played a lot of COD, but also some Battlefield, so I do have some experience with shotguns. I do think that this shotgun is a little overtuned, but not for the reasons you might think. One is that you can use this shotgun as a secondary primary in the assault class, which in my opinion, not really great. I don't like shotgun secondaries at all. I think when you want to use a shotgun, you have to commit. You have to say, hey, I know I'm signing off on my rights to have any versatility or range whatsoever, but I know that I'm getting a great up-close monster in return, and it really just throws off the balance when you can just have that in your back pocket, because then you have people who are like, it's too strong, it's a secondary, nerf it to the ground, and then people who want to rock it as a primary, and because it got nerfed, it can't really be a suitable primary anymore. Just stick to having this as a primary and not something you can run in the assault class. Just my 2 cents on it. The next big thing I would say that is a little overtuned about it is just the fact that its rate of fire is really strong. It shoots decently fast for a pump action, and I think that it needs to be toned down a little bit. I think if they just dial it back so it's not shooting at where it's at now, and it's a little bit slower, you have to be more methodical with your shots, I think that'll balance itself out. I really do. It doesn't need to be super slow, but right now I do think it shoots a little too fast for follow-up shots. So I'd say just tone that back a little bit, make it to where you have to kind of choose if you want to hit that shot, because right now you can kind of get away with spamming it a little bit. Not crazy, but I do think it does shoot a little fast. Now I could go down this massive rabbit hole of talking about how shotguns in COD functionally work and how maybe Battlefield could use some of those points, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just going to leave it at the fact that it is a strong shotgun. It is a little too strong to be rocking as a secondary, and I think the rate of fire is maybe a little too fast, but other than that, it's super fun, super rewarding to use, and I really enjoy using it. I do know this is a long-winded video, but I haven't really uploaded in a while. I wanted to give you guys something for me to blab about, and Battlefield 6, the beta, the shotgun, it just seemed like an appropriate time, so sorry about that, but I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it wasn't too much of a COD meta style loadout video that I typically do with shotguns. It's hard to see a gun and say, hey, use this, and then someone asks why, and you don't really know other than it feels good. Sometimes you just need to know a little bit more details on it. That's why I share like numbers and attachments I like to use. So I tried my best not to make it a just copy and paste COD loadout video, but sometimes it's a little hard not to get into the details about a gun and how it works. But anyway, I blabbed on enough. I've talked your ear off enough. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you guys think about this shotgun in the Battlefield 6 beta? Have you tried the beta yet? Have you gotten an early access code? Let me know what your thoughts on it are. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.